Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our pajama party.
We decided to do an introduction today like we normally would do for stories that we read. So I usually get up there with my happy PowerPoints, and the only difference is we won't be able to ask you guys questions, which makes us a little bit sad. But we put together a PowerPoint, and we decided to try some new technology today so that you guys could hear and see all three of us, because we miss you guys so much. And we decided it would be cool to be in our pajamas because, let's face it, you guys probably are too while watching this. So the story that we're going to be reading, it's actually not a story, it's a speech by John F. Kennedy. It's called Remarks at the Dedication of the Aerospace Medical Health Center. And as always, we're going to start by giving you a little bit of background information, because as you read, it helps you to put things in context and get things straight in your mind if you've got some background information. So John F. Kennedy was the 35th president of the United States. He's actually still the youngest elected president. Teddy Roosevelt was the youngest president, but he wasn't elected. He became president because McKinley was assassinated. So he remains the youngest elected president in 1960. He was very famous for being a gifted speaker. You're going to have the opportunity maybe to watch this speech, and I would encourage you to head to Google and see some of his speeches. He was very, very gifted. He was very famous in his inaugural speech for saying, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." It's an extremely famous thing that he said. And so when you hear that, you'll know that's John F. Kennedy. So this speech was given during the Cold War era. The Cold War is a war that was fought without any armies actually fighting. After World War II, the rise of communism in Russia and some of the other countries over there in the East was a really big deal. And the United States and some other Western countries were very worried about it, and they wanted to stop the spread of communism, but they had just come off of World War II and the atomic bomb, and nobody wanted to start another war where nuclear weapons would be used. So we got into what is called the Cold War. Everybody was afraid that somebody would start using nuclear power again, so actually nobody fought. But in 1957, the Soviet Union launched its first satellite to orbit the Earth, and what started was a space race. So it was very important to the United States and other Western countries that communism not be seen as something that was a good thing. They wanted to make sure that communism did not spread to other countries. So we kind of got into a battle with them, but not with our armies, with our more with our ideas and who was best. So the United States wanted to be the first one to go to space, and we weren't. The Soviet Union was, and that caused kind of a big thing. So President Kennedy had a goal to put a man on the moon, but some people did not want the United States spending as much money as we were on the space program. They thought it was a waste of time, because they thought it was just, going to space. What is the point, right? What's up there?
So that is something that is still in effect today. There are a lot of people that don't agree with our space exploration. It is, people think that we could put our money in other places instead of that. But, going along with President Kennedy, kind of good to find out things that we don't know leads to other things. So it's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. It did lead to technology being expanded. And this was the point that President Kennedy was actually trying to make in this speech. It was given in San Antonio, Texas. And he was asked to dedicate the new Aerospace Medical Health Center. He actually, what's really eerie about this speech is it was given the day before President Kennedy was assassinated. So November 1963, right before he was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. He was making the rounds in Texas, and he gave this speech in San Antonio, and then he was actually shot in Dallas. But his point was, you're going to see how he chose the different words that he chose specifically for his audience. This audience was a group of medical professionals, and he was going around the country. He's trying to sell the idea of, hey, we need to put men in space, and I want to put a man on the moon. And people were like, we don't want to spend money on that. And he was like, listen, I'm going to give you the different reasons that we need to be doing this. And he gave very specific reasons geared towards his audience of medical professionals in this speech. I don't want to give too much away, but as you read the speech or listen to the speech, you're going to see that every reason he gives has something to do with the advancement of medical technology.
I also want to note, like, in any of Kennedy's speech, he made that like known. He did that for all of his speeches. So if he wasn't talking to medical people, he was talking to a specific group, and he catered to those people. So he was very, very good. And this is why they call him a gifted public speaker, is he was able to meet who he's talking to. And that's why some people were so, Kennedy, because he was able to say what you wanted to hear, So that's why it makes him a very gifted speaker.
Right. He related to the people that he was trying to convince. So remember when you guys wrote your argument papers way back last fall, you had to come up with reasons. You had to come up with what your claim was, and then you had to come up with reasons to support it. And Kennedy was really good at making sure he knew who he was talking to. So he paid attention to who his audience was. So if it was the medical community, that's what he focused his reasoning behind for space exploration. Oops. Is that where we're at, Rachel? Good.
Yeah, if you guys remember, in your argument papers, you had to make a claim. And as you read the story, we're going to ask you to take a look at what claim President Kennedy is making here. You guys also had to give reasons, or a person's beliefs or actions, and evidence, which is facts, statistics, quotations, or anecdotes that support each reason. As you read this speech or listen to this speech, you are going to very clearly see his reasons and his evidence. He gives 3, and he lays them out 1, 2, 3. So that should make it, that makes him an even more gifted speaker, because you knew exactly what he was going to say, where he was going to go. He laid it out. And it's not a very long speech either. It was not boring. He kept your attention. He got in and out, and that was that. So remember, from your argument papers, you had to do all of these things. This can be in a speech too. So we're going to want you to take a look at those things and pay attention to those things as you read. So I want you to pay attention to the point that President Kennedy is making. Think about, why does he think the United States should be involved with space research? I want you to think about what his claim is very specifically, and we want you to try to highlight or figure out the reasons and evidence that he gives to back up his claim, because he does give those very, very clearly.
So if you get confused about, oh, gee, I don't know what his claim is, when you're making an argument, remember your claim is usually in the beginning and the end, or just the beginning or just the end. It depends. But so those are some spaces or places that you should look if you're looking for his claim, because if you're a little bit confused. You there, Mrs. Butler?
Yeah, so we would also like you, just as we would do in class, after we go through the presentation, we'd like you to go to your the History Channel link that you can find in your textbook on my HRW. We provided a quick link here on these slides. We've all tried it out and it works. You guys need to let us know if it doesn't work, but you can also log in to my HRW, go to the Kennedy speech, and there'll be a button at the very top that says My History Channel, just like we would do in class, and you go ahead and click that and it will come up.
Link, right?
Yep, that's the first
we're going to go to. This same link is right in your HRW textbook that you can just click on. So that is a possibility, but if you can't get to it there, or you may use your My HRW, then obviously you can go to that.
And the second link that we provided is actually a copy and audio of John F. Kennedy giving this speech. So there is a copy of it. It looks just like it does in your book. If you click this link, it'll come right up. And then Ms. Kalem has provided a snapshot of where you can hit to listen to Kennedy's speech. So if you want to hear what he sounds like and the, the types of things that he would do, I think, not sure if there's a video. I think it's just the audio. If you go ahead and search Google, you may be able to find a video of that speech too. It's kind of grainy, but you'll be able to see how he presents himself.
Well, yeah, because it was the technology from 1960, remember, you guys? So
yeah, but his voice is so powerful and it
right.
fluctuates. So it's one thing we really want you to listen to, because it's A, the technology is different, but B, just to see how of an influential speaker and strong speaker that he is, that maybe one day you could look to follow in his shoes and be an awesome public speaker.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
It is. And also, guys, to make sure that you watched the History Channel link, because we feel it's very important for context, we are going to be posting a question that you are going to have to answer. So make sure that you take a look at that History Channel link. You don't have to hit the link for his speech there if you don't want to. This speech is in my HRW. We just provided that for you for ease of use. I mean, if it were me, I would probably go ahead and click on that and listen to his speech. So remember to look at that History Channel link and pay attention to it. It's about 4 minutes long. So just stick with it. It's very, very interesting. Just like in class, we're going to have a question for you to answer.
All right, guys, we think that's it. Remember, if you have any questions, contact one of us, Mrs. Detweiler, Mrs. Butler, or myself, Miss Kalem, and we'll try to get those questions answered for you.
Okay, you guys have a great night.
We miss you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.